Fluent Fox Podcast.
Learn English by listening.
Have you ever noticed that feeling, that almost primal urge for things to happen right now? You know, that little twitch when a web page takes forever to load, or that low buzz of frustration when you're just stuck in traffic?
Absolutely. It feels like it's everywhere these days. The desire for instant gratification.
Exactly. And the frustration when things just, refuse to go according to our schedule. It feels pretty universal, doesn't it?
It really does.
Well, today we're going to dive deep into the flip side of that impatience. We're looking at sources on the power of patience, cultivating a calmer life. Our goal here is really to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge for you. We want to get beyond just defining patience and really unpack why it matters so much, and maybe how we can actually build more of it into our lives.
Right. And what's fascinating here is that our sources frame patience not just as, a nice virtue to have, but almost as a sophisticated skill. It's about managing our thoughts and feelings. We'll explore the real-world benefits, how it affects our brains, how it helps with long-term goals, how it changes how we interact with people. You're going to get a really practical sense of how patience isn't just about, waiting around. It's about actively shaping your internal and external world for the better.
That's a really key distinction, isn't it? So when our sources talk about patience, it's not just waiting without getting mad. How do they really break it down?
Exactly. The material we looked at defines patience not as just sitting there passively, but as the active presence of a calm, controlled response when things are delayed, difficult, or maybe provoking. It's like an inner strength, really. It lets you keep going and handle waiting for results. Think of it as tolerating uncertainty or discomfort calmly instead of just reacting on impulse.
Okay, reframing it like that makes it sound much more active, like a foundational skill. So why is it so crucial then? Why does it shape our lives so much? The sources seem to hit on several big reasons. The first one, which feels pretty intuitive, is how it affects achieving our goals.
Absolutely. Yeah, the research really points to patience being key for the process of reaching goals, not just sticking with them. Patient people, according to our sources, are much more likely to, practice deliberately. They break down big tasks. They tolerate the boring repetition needed sometimes, and they accept slow progress. That's a huge difference compared to people who want quick results and just give up when things don't happen fast. It really fuels long-term success.
And it's not just about our own stuff, right? Our individual goals. This idea of patient engagement seems to really change how we deal with other people, too. I mean, we all have relationships where people, test us sometimes. A friend's late, a family member says something off. An impatient reaction can blow things up pretty fast.
Definitely. And this is where patience acts like a circuit breaker.
Yeah.
It gives you that moment to pause, rethink the situation, maybe see it from another angle. Instead of jumping to conclusions, like assuming someone's being deliberately annoying, you might think maybe they're stressed or maybe something else is going on. That little shift allows for a calmer conversation, builds understanding instead of conflict. It's about giving people a bit of grace, which in the end makes relationships stronger, builds trust.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for a lot of us, maybe the most direct benefit, especially with how hectic life is how patience can be like a real antidote to stress, that feeling of worry or tension that just creeps up.
It's actually fascinating. The sources show how patience can literally calm down the brain's stress response, the fight or flight thing. It can lower stress hormones like cortisol and get your body into a more relaxed state. So it's not just feeling calmer, it's a real biological shift. It helps you handle frustrating things like that traffic jam with more inner control.
Okay, so it helps with goals, relationships, stress. Beyond that, the sources also really emphasize patience's role in making better decisions, which seems counterintuitive sometimes because the world often pushes speed.
Right. But impatience often makes us grab the first okay option, not necessarily the best one. We just want it settled. Patience, on the other hand, gives you the mental space to actually think things through properly. You can gather more information, weigh the pros and cons without feeling rushed, and consider the long-term impact instead of just the immediate payoff. Whether it's a big career choice or just buying something significant, taking that patient approach almost always leads to better, more satisfying decisions.
And the last major area, it seems, is resilience. The sources paint patience as a cornerstone of being resilient, not just bouncing back, but adapting and staying steady when things get tough.
Exactly. Life throws challenges at us. Setbacks happen. Patience helps us see failures not as the end of the road, but as information. Data points on a learning curve. It helps you accept that progress isn't always a straight line. You can push through difficulties, learn from mistakes, and try again with, renewed focus. That understanding really turns obstacles into chances to grow. It makes you fundamentally stronger, more adaptable.
Okay, so these benefits are pretty profound. Goals, relationships, stress, decisions, resilience, it covers a lot. The big question then is, how do we actually get more patient? Is it something you're born with, or can you train it?
Good news there, the research is pretty clear. Patience is definitely a skill you can learn, like building any muscle.
Okay, so where do we start?
Well, a really important first step is figuring out your personal triggers, but maybe going a bit deeper than just what annoys me. It's understanding the thoughts or maybe the beliefs behind the impatience. Is it a fear of losing control, a feeling that things should be faster, trouble dealing with uncertainty? When you kind of dissect the why, you can come up with better strategies. Like if you know traffic bugs you, maybe build in extra time or have a calming playlist ready.
Right, understanding the root cause. And then beyond just analyzing, the sources talk about actually practicing it in small ways. It feels like we're always trying to be efficient, but maybe we need to deliberately slow down.
Yes, exactly. It's about intentionally leaning into those small moments of waiting. Like when you're in a slow queue, maybe don't grab your phone instantly. Just observe what's around you. Be present in that delay. Or consciously wait just a couple of extra seconds before you react to something or before you choose the quickest path. These little micro choices, choosing patience over impulse, they gradually start to rewire how your brain handles delays, builds up that capacity for calm.
And when impatience does hit, that feeling starts to bubble up, the advice seems really simple but powerful. Just breathe. Mindful breathing.
It's a direct physical intervention. Taking slow, deep breaths, especially making the exhale longer, actually stimulates the part of your nervous system that calms you down. It slows your heart rate, quiets your mind almost immediately. It creates that crucial pause, that space where you can choose a patient response instead of just reacting automatically.
That makes sense. Another thing that came up in the materials was about expectations. It seems like a lot of impatience comes from expecting things to happen faster than they realistically can.
Precisely. Yeah, we often have this idealized, speeded up version of how things should go. Like if you start learning a new language, expecting to be fluent in a month just isn't realistic, right? So challenging those unrealistic beliefs, setting achievable expectations for yourself and for situations, that significantly cuts down on disappointment and therefore impatience. It's about syncing your internal clock with how the world actually works sometimes.
Yeah, aligning expectations. And that connects nicely to another idea, being present. When we're impatient, our mind is usually jumping ahead, right? Worrying about the outcome or how long something is taking.
Absolutely. Shifting your focus deliberately to the now is a really powerful technique. So instead of obsessing about when the task will finally be done or when the wait will end, try to fully engage with what's happening right now. Notice the details. If you're doing something challenging, focus just on the very next small step. This deliberate focus on the journey, not just the destination, can make the waiting or the effort feel much less like a burden. You appreciate the process more.
This is also where empathy seems to fit in. Sometimes we get impatient because we just don't understand what someone else might be going through.
Right. Empathy, really trying to understand and share someone else's feelings. It fundamentally changes your viewpoint. If someone's holding you up, instead of jumping to judgment, try thinking maybe they're having a bad day, or perhaps they're dealing with something I don't know about. Just that act of trying to see it from their side reduces that knee-jerk judgmental reaction, fosters patience, and honestly helps you be kinder to them and to yourself.
That's a great point. And finally, the sources suggested looking for role models, people we admire who seem to handle things patiently.
Yeah, observing how patient people navigate tough situations, how they handle setbacks, delays, difficult interactions. It gives you concrete examples and, frankly, inspiration. It shows you these principles in action and reinforces that patience is something you develop, not just something you have or don't have. And that applies everywhere, from work projects to personal goals.
So wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you listening? Our deep dive really shows that patience isn't just, passively waiting around. It's much more dynamic. It's an active mindset, an attitude, a conscious choice we make when faced with life's inevitable delays and struggles. And by cultivating it, we're not just getting better at waiting, we're actually becoming calmer, more resilient, more understanding people.
No.
We build better relationships, we're more likely to reach our goals, and we face difficulties with, more strength. It really feels like a skill that makes life richer, happier.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, becoming patient really is a journey, isn't it? It's not like you suddenly arrive at patient station. You won't be perfectly patient overnight. And honestly, that's okay. That's not even the point. It's more about the consistent practice, little by little, every day. Noticing your triggers, taking that deep breath, maybe questioning your expectations, just reminding yourself that often the things that matter most take time to unfold.
Which leads to a final thought for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. How might embracing patience, not just when you're waiting for something external, but in the very process of learning and understanding complex topics, like you're doing right now with us, how might that change your whole approach? Think about how a patient, persistent engagement with complexity could unlock even deeper insights for you and maybe foster a more profound sense of mastery in whatever you choose to explore. Something to consider.